Hi, I welcome you to play a game with the devil, where the devil is the ego that doesn't know whether it's of light or of darkness, so wants to play a game. With that, please bear in mind that feminine and masculine energies show up within a reading, so whether you are feminine and or masculine embodied, you may resonate with either of the energies. To remember that past, present, and or future energetical timelines could come forth of vibrancy, to use your discernment, to take all of which that belongs to you, and to leave the rest behind. Please remember that not only is the devil the ego that shows up for itself, but it would make us more accountable to have a better relationship with ourselves, to define what the devil energy means for you and what it means to have a relationship with the devil, because you know it, you know of it. Whatever you conceptualize it to be, how do you integrate it in your life to either learn of it, to reach your boundaries and not wanting to be it inclusive in your life? How do you stay away from it? Or how do you learn from that energy? In Tarot, I honor the devilish energy to not only resonate in it belonging to the zodiac sign of Capricorn, but to take it dimensions further and beyond that of which belongs to us. And knowing that is integrated with also not knowing, but the power of being hungry to learn, to grow, to learn more knowledge is the power of fulfilling authenticity within ourselves. That is very problematic in needing and wanting and even knowing how to authenticate the very definition of authenticity. Authenticity is a generalized term for a person to just be their human way, their hue of whatever it is that they embody, that they resonate with, that they showcase with, that they show up as, to be that of which it is that they are. The innocence of knowing that a new life is codependent on the life already living prior to it is needing to surrender into the knowledge that it doesn't know anything at all, but its natural curiosity to know not of anything brings it to the compelling force to want to learn as much as of everything as possible. Whether or not it brings you into situations in life that offers you resonancy to it being problematic, definitive, complex, scary, maintaining fear. Those are all elements of the devil wanting to dance with you, to shape your relationship with the ego in the face of fear. To understand fears are dimensions of your own aura that has been taught to teach itself, to discipline its physiological behavior into a situation, or to protect itself from a situation, to no longer experience the same thing that it once experienced and did not like again. All right. Having that sense of responsibility is coming up with both the feminine and the masculine attributes of sense of self, where we honor the parental differencing, polarizing energies required to raise something, right? Whether you are a parent raising a child, whether you have decided to neglect your role of raising a child, you have a fulfillment that needs to be fulfilled either in the absence of or in the presence of. That responsibility doesn't go away. That attribute of having put something forth that belongs of you, whether it's at the credit to no longer be at your disposal, is still your responsibility. The devil makes sure that you understand that. Wherever you go, the shadow of knowing where you will take in your life, where your life wants you to experience your life, will and forever be in tandem, in coercion, in complexity, in a way of wanting to find a balance with the light that is also in battle of defining itself within you. There are many people who are defining their life and the struggles of life in only accepting the light of language, which feeds a propelling pursuit of wanting to sustain life and the light of love and to share it and to care for it and to maintain it. However, they fall short in accepting shadow aspect of yourself and others. If you do not learn how to dance with the shadows of your life, you will not understand what it means to have a relationship with tarot readings and see the death card unfold and see the devil card unfold and realize that you are in pain every time that situation of the universal aspects that come up in the major arcanas of tarot cards shows up for you to feel daunted about life when you shouldn't. The major arcanas and the level of how tarot is here to assist you is for you to accept the inevitability. And part of accepting the inevitability is taking ownership of all the good and all the bad and seeing how they shape you and how you want to define yourself from no longer resonating with that and changing yourself into another, or becoming better of something. Either way, whichever path you choose is a pathway that will authenticate you. It will force you to be a version of your best self, even if it includes being a version of your worst case scenario as well. Because the impersonalization that is required to learning your own sovereign pursuit of this life that you have entered in and you will exit is to know that it is your sole responsibility and not the universe's responsibility. The universe does not want to scare you with the message of the devil or the death card when it shows up in a reading. For you not to simper, to skitter away, to scatter away, or to fear the resistance of knowing what is inevitable anyway. It is inevitable. So it would make sense to just accept the inevitability and learn that if it has good, that you can anticipate it just as much as you know the bad can come along with it. The trajectory of where you take your life is up to you. How the path is forticated is in a way also tied to you, but in a dimension of a knowing and a wisdom taking you to a higher level so that you can learn deeper versions who it means for you to show up in the time and space that you are present currently. No shadow should uproot you. No shadow should diminish you. No shadow should anchor you. No shadow should ask the light of you to propel more light in the light of other people and bring under your wing of expansion when you are afraid to take off yourself. It is not fair for those you try to study and be a leadership to. For thus you have to learn how to dance with the devil and not be afraid in doing so. Not being afraid that when someone induces the conversation to trigger your mind to figuring out what it means for you to have a devil's conversation, meaning not a devilish way, but learning how to utilize the name and not fearing it in the way that you condemn the word God if you fear the devil. If you catch yourself saying, oh my God, or oh shit, or for fuck's sake, or why God, or anything in the name of God's, using it in whatever, in the name of vain, right? Are you not being contradictory in itself? Religion has no ruling here. God and the devil have no ruling here. It is a language indoctrinated into the tongues of possibility to have a conversation with or about, to have a brain attached with it to think about what that means, what it has already meant in the cultures and the people that have treaded the earth vibration before you, and how it lingers in the thoughts of what it has left behind in transcending and moving on. Can you embody the knowing that in darkness, beautiful things get born? Can you bring value to that? Can you show ownership in the light of the darkness as much as you show up and maintaining your darkness hidden in the light that you walk in? Can you walk with the protection of yourself? Mother of Wands is the energy I just left off with. Good things get born in the darkness. She protects that of which she gave birth to, or wants to give birth to, or which is waiting in the protection of her protecting them in order to become something. There's a duality of energy out there to accept. And the closer you get into building a bond with both energies and make them both ring true at both times, at all times, is the way you really embody the Mother of Wands energy. And the energies beyond the Mother of Wands energy. An understanding of eternal power, showing up for the birthing of eternity. the euphoria of the truth that it can bring, the will and the strive to move forward and not only protect that it is that you would like, but to protect it the moment that it comes. Part of knowing that is to know that if you are a parent and you've been shaped with whatever it is that you believe, wherever you get your decision makings from, there is a version of it that comes in wanting to shape your child in whatever way that you can, whether it's has to do with the truth coming out of your mouth and making sense in the way you discipline your children, or if it's a secrecy kept and you're establishing a dissection with how you should think that you should parent, but as a person, if you were a best friend to your child, you will probably disclose certain aspects of perspectives of life in a different way, in a different light, because all of a sudden it's not parental. Those are things to think about of authenticating your journey from when anything is innocently expecting something, because it can see what has already been here before it has arrived. And in the innocence of not knowing where to go, it sees all the possibilities to its exposure. The curiosity of a child utilizing its inner inertia of its curiosity to propel its forward movement of crawling, walking, running at one point, and being mobile in any way to get to the curiosity of where their sensation is saying that they would like to go. What is responsible is shaping that perspective, no matter if you're 14, 18, 99, or understand you've had 1,000,000,000 of fucking past lives in the present life that you now remember you had. The maturation of time has nothing to do with the maturation of single stream consciousness and knowing how you are. To define how you are is not lying in the definition of needing to know exactly how to define it. Nowadays, you look up a word in the dictionary and they use the same word in the definition to define the word that you're looking up. It's confusion to the masses just to get you distracted that you could get power for yourself. And power for yourself is something that you can overrule by seeing where the overall power is and seeing if you want a lick of that. And if you want a lick of that, then what do you have to do to obtain that lick? But sometimes when you start realizing you can take a lick of something, you might get bored after a little while. It didn't really taste that good. Or maybe you're curious to see if there's other flavors around. Maybe you don't want to change your idea at all and staying with that flavor because you're so devoted to that. Or maybe it runs out because there is so many licks to get to the center of the lollipop. And then you see, oh, there is an end. And now either do you choose the same thing or do you use that moment to change your perspective into wanting a lick of something else? No matter how you hear the basic words is how complex they trigger you in your mind. And however it takes you in the complexities of where it makes you feel is where you're dancing with the devil. Because to feel the sensation within and to allow them to resonate with you is a Mother of Cups energy that you're capable of. And also capable of ignoring or embracing. That is up to you. But either way, change is happening with the Five of Pentacles as you see. And it is a beauty. You can take dried out rose petals and make beautiful art with them. You can transform the resistance that once brought you fear and become so powerful, but you're convoluted in the thinking that it should be okay to suppress yourself further into the fear because other people are saying, no. Instead of facing the fear, we're going to give you this. But to give you this comes with multiple side effects. You know what it's like to have side effect for facing the fear? Getting rid of your fear. That's the side effect of facing your fear. Supplementing something else to take root of your fear comes with situational side effects. It's not owning up to a one-on-one disclosure of full capacity and knowing the honor of that, and then making a multifaceted and multidimensional if need be. Because then, when you're ready for one-on-one and you've completely mastered that, you are then ready for an other. You are ready for the third involvement, for the third party. When you hear third party possibility, you're not freaking out in a reading. because you understand the third party element is the curiosity of someone breaking away their knowing how to find a bondage of two, let alone with themselves. Because if they can't find a bondage of two within themselves, how can they formulate it with you if you're asking for someone else to be in your life? Or you're trying to understand the person in your life right now, but you can't compromise in the middle? Is there something within yourself that you cannot come in compromisable form with? And that is to be negated. And how you look at that situation and how you condemn others not being able to formulate their life, whether it's to the liking of you or liking for themselves, but you seeing it from a perspective where you may or may not agree. Your business in being in somebody else's lane is none of your business. There are many cultures. The closer you get to, I want to say, this is very basic, very fucking simplified here, right? Don't put statistics into my mouth here. But to oversimplify would be, the closer you get to the equator, the more people are vibrant of the life of warmthness coming from the richness of the sun. And they're completely living off a different type of lifestyle. And those who are further away from the equator, more having to bring the element of warmthness that is also needed equally from wherever you are, close or far from the equator, needed to survive. However, it's interesting that most cultures who run around being in the warmer climates have the inertia of their spirit of their soul having a lot to do with music and being loud and expressive. And the louder you are in certain cultures, you know, aka for example the Latin culture, you know, they're expressive. And for some people who don't listen, who don't speak the tongue, they may think, you know, they speak really loud. I have friends from where I'm stemming this perspective from. They're always cherished, like, wow, they're just naturally so loud, right? And there's music to come with that. There's a life to come with that. And it's not that other cultures who are further away from the equator don't have that. It's just different. There's a different richness coming from that, right? And to understand that two opposing energies can have the same version of strength in their message, but an explosion that is different and just comes off differently is something also very interesting to talk about, very interesting to see, because it allows people all of a sudden, when it comes to relationships, you know, they become very prejudiced. And they become prejudiced and then thinking that they're not dancing on the devil and being that type of behavior. I mean, what are you doing? You're shaping people's ego and also judging them from the first impression that you see, from the first impression that you engage. You learn through love that maybe the first impression is the lasting impression. So it really hurts if you made an accident and made the first impression be a lousy one because you don't know how to really go back in time and fix that. But as you know, there are some, or may not know, there are some people who broke that, you know. Their first impression was shit. I'm one of them, by the way. I have that. First impression of my partner was shit. You know, my time and your time are just not adding up right now. It happens. It doesn't mean that reconciliation cannot occur, or that I wouldn't even consider reconciliation at that moment, because we're not meshing. We're not meshing and saying that all of a sudden at that time of first impression, I'm bringing my all. No, I'm protecting everything that I have, and whatever I find is not meshing, I'm using my ego to protect. But the thing is, my ego is wrong. An unhealthy ego, and even a healthy ego, can be fucking wrong, because all the ego does is shape the pathway. It is the mask for your soul. That once you have a definitive soul journey and you really go into the trenches of how difficult it is to deal with emotions, feel emotions of others, be an empath, be a seer, be clairaudient, whatever you got that makes you fucking powerful, you know? It makes you dance with certain energies inside where you're like, the closer you're getting to have your personal journey, you're like, whoa, I want to be I want to pave the pathway ahead of us for everyone, because I don't necessarily want this experience for anyone. But at the same time, it's such a fulfilling, raw, honest journey that you have like almost a complex, an obsession in making sure that you keep that motivation alive for yourself to maintain that message. And that message is sovereignty. And those who go into the realms of sovereignty understand it comes with all its realms of bullshit. Do you involve the society or not? Are you off grid or not? Are you dependent off of the system? Like, who do you call when you have an emergency? Like, it gets personal and it gets fucking problematic, all right? Every single one of you listening to this collective general reading will have your own fucking opinions of either liking, agreeing, or fucking hating the goddamn message. It's very simple that way. Very simple. And that is all to the degree of how light and darkness work together to see whether or not we can find our niches with one another, since we can't get rid of each other, and we shouldn't necessarily get rid of each other because, well, we're all here, right? So if we're all here, well then, okay, let's see what we've got going on. But let's understand we need to respect ourselves to understand what it means to not ask for people's respect, but to be respected, period. And that has to come with having a certain form of understanding of self that is not narcissistic when you preach it. It's not prideful just because you know how to maintain it. And it's not devil work just because you say, hey, welcome to dancing to the devil. All of it is relative. All of it is your opinion. You've changed. You've changed. You've changed a lot from something former, and you're willing to change some more. You're not afraid of change. You fear not knowing. You fear not knowing or having some control of the not knowing. However, every single time you surrender into something of that energy, feeding that fear, knowing that you have to maybe just ignore it for a moment, you get a sense that it brings you something. It brings you something at the same time. It's up to you to figure out what it's bringing is of goodness or of badness, and use your intuition to figure out if you can unlock the code for yourself to no longer be in fear or learn from it. If you go or have practice in Reiki, you may have learned about past life regression. And past life regression teaches you that on a self-induced, it's a self-induced, it's not self-induced, but it kind of is at the same time, because you're awake and having a hypnosis. And you're having a single stream focused version of reaching a thought, of reaching memories, and taking of them that memory, the things you remember. And in doing so, you travel your consciousness that remembers spans of time that have nothing to do with the current timeline of life that you're on. And you realize those are quote unquote past lives. If you break any one of those down, they have an influence of your current life in one way or another. They give birth to an understanding in the smallest degree that can offer the biggest water droplet of being the water droplet you needed to ripple around all the other bullshit sectors of your life to finally not only bring clarity, bring peace, or even maybe the triggering of finally healing a fear. Because there is such a thing as past life karma. Past life being 5 minutes ago. Past life being 50,000 years ago. And your light being an active member of every one of those occurrences. How much is however much you are. How suffering is however much you are suffering. However you are right now is everything that you are. Everything that you can be can come from everything that you are now. Do you believe it is not a structure needed? Because to look in the mirror, if you're honored to have one, And as biblically as it can be, as how traumatic a mirror it is, it's a beautiful invention to finally get a taste of what it's like for other people to see your skin and make that prejudiced judgment, it's called, that they make regardless, because once they dive their noses into shadow work, they know they're making it anyway. It's being very aware that in the science or the spiritual science or whatever it is that you think you need to get this data from, it has been proven that the subconscious is an overactive, inactive, constantly moving thing. In the esoteric world, it's having a version of the Akashic records. It is a knowing that something is always on. It never turns off. The only thing that gives it a marginal room of you not being so driven insane with it is your consciousness that is a ruler of how you have a relationship with also your ego and also your brain, your third eye, if you believe in it again or not, if you believe in speech, if you believe in loving, hating, choosing, making a choice, seeing options, feeling, loving, being angry, being temperamental. If you feel all those behavioral personalities coming up within you, you are defining something. The least thing that you're doing is defining yourself. We're asking you to become aware of who it is that you are. Because that awareness that you have of yourself, you don't have to blame someone else, as in God or Allah or devil or Satan, to have control or ownership over you. For that, it's a ruling of a connective energy that it doesn't matter how much I believe whatever it is I believe, you will take whatever you want to believe anyway. So rest assured that I will do the same thing for you in return to honor both of our individual sovereignty. To rise to the situation to yourself is to honor everyone who has shaped your path ahead, past, linearly, laterally, perpendicularly, and whatever. But honoring them is to honor yourself. You honor yourself, you honor them, vice versa. All right. As rough as these messages were, I hope that you have received anything that you were needing at this time. If you see yourself asking for healing sessions of any kind or any readings, please feel free to check out the information in the description box below. I am very accessible. My email address is a bit complex. Not complex, but just be mindful of all the E's so that way I can rest assured that I receive it, okay? Or we can be rest assured that I receive it. You receive yourself not having made contact with me after a while, please check over the community section of the YouTube channel, because my comment section is off on all my videos. So the community section is an open source situation, so please utilize that as a means to make contact with me if you feel that email ways has been unsuccessful. All right, I am a master Reiki healer as well as a self-proclaimed master healer, and that I have been given gifts and modalities beyond Reiki to assist my clients on their healing journey. So I look forward in making connections if you choose to desire in making one. I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, or night wherever you are in this ether of this time and space, and may you keep flowing, growing, and glowing. Take care.